Oh, my name's Will, and let's pretend that you're walking through a record store. You come across three different records. Three records: Dark Side of the Moon, Igor, and Little Feat, Hoy Hoy. See, for individuals, it might be based on whether they find these records to be enjoyable or whether they know them or not. But I think that there's a lot more that goes of into choosing a record. So, for my first point, I believe that people buy records off of what somebody might know. My second is getting a record that is popular. I find that people like to purchase records because they think it's popular, or getting a record that looks cool, my personal favorite. Each reason is quite compelling and provide each their own advantages. Probably the most obvious one is getting a record that you know. For example, me, I love MF Doom. MF Doom is awesome. I love his stuff. And if somebody's going to drop big money on these records, I would hope that they would do something and spend their money off of stuff that they know that they enjoy. If it leading to no surprises, and in your purchase, so you know exactly what will be there and what sound will be played when playing this. Or another instance, you might just know the artist. Making this purchase habit to be made in familiarity, that you know what sounds are being made. I've done this countless times where I don't know the exact songs present on the record, but I know the artist. Like the MF Doom example, I know him. I don't know every song, so it's not too familiar. But yet again, I know what sound is going to be produced. These reasons of purchasing is more related to a person's identity. Um, Building in that familiarity to own a favorite piece of music or a favorite artist is often tied to a person's identity. Um, a study done by Laura Gomez at the London College of Communication defines this action of purchasing records is tied to cultural meanings of what it means to own a record, assigning oneself to a musical artist or a subculture of the people who own that type of artist. While this concept can be applied to multiple purchase habits, I, I believe that each one has their own direct related concept. Like purchasing a record that is popular. Um, for I bought this record, Dark Side of the Moon, by Pink Floyd, not because I personally find Pink Floyd to be enjoyable. I got it because it's popular. And do I regret it? No. It was a strategy of purchasing. I honestly really enjoy this record, and I find it to be one of the most one of the best records ever. And I got it just because this little triangle is popular and shown everywhere. It's similar to Nirvana, although I don't own a Nirvana record as of this moment. But it's creating almost a sense of familiarity off of based on other people's enjoyment. Doing this actually leads to someone trying out new genres. For example, Pink Floyd has a sound that I don't think most people have heard a lot. They experiment a lot with different sound bites and distorting stuff. And if it wasn't for this, I wouldn't have heard that. I wouldn't have built that. I wouldn't have explored music like that. For me, this is something that just is so different to somebody, and based off of these recommendations can just bring people to different genres. These recommendations don't have to be based off of popularity. They can also just be based off of purely just other people uh, asking and telling you about stuff. For me, Tame Impala, this is what happened with my mom. Surprisingly, Tame Impala is a great artist, and who knew my mom had good music taste? I don't think that she's allowed to, personally. But I wouldn't have ever known about Tame Impala if it wasn't for my mom. On top of that, suggestion can also be done in indirectly suggesting music and the purchasing habit of records. A sociological study done by Hendricks, Curating Value and Changing Markets, shows that record stores actively shape how customers choose records. This is a way of buying records off of popularity because it's being recommended. These stores are using social cues to assign their level of professionalism on themselves, of saying one one should purchase this because I have a reason to know what I'm saying. This suggestion is just suggest, to be frank, that records aren't just a personal preference, but co-created by store culture and popularity. This suggestion can also be done by the album itself. My personal favorite purchasing habit is just going off of the vibe, going off of what am I seeing on this record. Um, and for me, these two records that I have found are Poison Headache. I'm not into death metal. I'm not. I'm just not. I don't really like people screaming at me, and I don't think that it's like the best thing ever. That's just me. But this record looks awesome. It looks sick. I bought it because it looks sick. Do I feel bad that I purchased it? No. It's awesome, and it really expands somebody's horizons. Um, I find it to be the most fun and surprising way to buy a record because it's like opening a present almost of like what sounds am I gonna see? What sounds am I gonna hear? This practice allows for a more diverse collection as well. For people, at least for me, I have all these different sounds of different records because I buy all these weird vibes of all these different genres. And for example, from the vinyl revival, material, mater, mater, aesthetic materiality and consumer meaning, Journal of Consumer Culture 2019, record buyers consistently describe the cover art as the first point of emotional contact, often determining whether they picked up a vinyl album before knowing anything about the music. This allows an inference to be made about the record, assigning a possible emotional connection. Applying back to a person's identity is built with their record collection. Relating back to how a record can really assign this emotional contact before a purchase habit is created. So, in conclusion, there are three ways that I at least have defined somebody can go about purchasing a record, done by knowing either the artist, the popularity, or the recommendation of that record, all having their own advantages and personal motivating themes. I think all of these are valid strategies and all tie to a person's identity, more than one might assume. So, now let me ask you again, which record will you be buying? Hey, thank you.